What's up, Duval? It's your favorite Jag, Bucky Brooks, and this is Bleav in Jaguars, podcast dedicated to all things Jacksonville Jaguars. I am back stateside after spending the weekend in London, checking out our Jags against the Chicago Bears. Disappointing performance, not only because of the loss, but some of the comments coming out of the locker room after the loss. We got to kind of unpack some of this stuff to kind of figure out what's going on with our squad and if Doug Peterson can get this right as we're hitting the midpoint of the season. But before we talk about the Jags, let's talk about our sponsor, Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup, breakdown, even live odds and spreads to bet on during games, with the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA to political props. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here. Guys, I wish the game would have started on Sunday for the Jags, but it never appeared to get started. The Jaguars fall to the Chicago Bears 35-16. And some would say the game wasn't even that close. When you look at it, one of the more disappointing efforts I've been around since I've been around the team is one that's really unexplainable considering the circumstances. The Jags won their first game week 5, knocked off the Indianapolis Colts. They go to London with a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, hoping to steal 2 overseas to put them back on track, potentially with the Packers coming back to the bank at the end of the month. Practice and stuff were good, according to the people that I talked to in the building. When I talked to the coach and those guys before the game, everyone was very, very confident that they were going to play a really good game against a team. Look, that is a playoff contender, certainly, in Chicago Bears, but they were playing a rookie quarterback. And you felt like this would be a game that the Jags could and maybe should win, just given those circumstances. And, oh, man, after the first drive, offensively, the Bears dominated the game for about 3.5 quarters. And it was a domination that wasn't because the Bears were a superior team or had more talent or their execution was flawless, but it was more so just the Jaguars could not get out of their own way. I just cannot tell you the amount of penalties, blown assignments, miscues, drop balls, turnovers, all of the things that you would like to think that you can control, the things that the good teams take care of to ensure that they're always going to win games. The Jaguars faltered. Look, they fail miserably in each of those areas. And it's troubling because it's part of a recurring theme, right, that we've heard from Doug Peterson in terms of this team will not start winning until they learn how to avoid losing, meaning until they quit beating themselves, until they take care of business on the things that they can control, the team will be up and down like it's been, and it's been more down than up of late. And look, man, it gets late early in the NFL season. You talk about being 6 weeks in, you're at 1-5, you're at the bottom of the league, and you're hoping to somehow get a sniff of the postseason. Man, you've given away all of the cushion to be able to do it. And unless you're able to get on a run, it's bleak that you're going to be one of the teams that gets invited into the postseason tournament and extends their season. The part that is most troubling about all of that is we've heard all the conversation all offseason about this being the most talented Jaguars team that they've assembled, full of good guys, great character guys that love ball, guys that are going to do it the right way. We've heard the players talk about attention to detail and toughness and finishing and all of those catchwords, which, look, they were important coming off the heels of losing the way they lost last year down the stretch. Like, they fell apart down the stretch, couldn't get it back, couldn't win games, all of those things. And so my disappointment comes from seeing a team that not only lacks the urgency, but they just don't appear to have like a great sense of who they are, what they're doing, and what is required to win in this league. Those of you who may not know, like, man, I'm a huge supporter. I went to North Carolina Chapel Hill, but I'm a huge supporter of Army football. Love Army football. Love Jeff Monken. had been up to visit uh, the Black Knights up at West Point, watched them practice, watched them play games, catch them all the time. And one of the things that they always talk about the three must-haves that you have to have if you're going to win games. You got to have effort, you got to have toughness, mental and physical, and you got to have execution. And when I look at the Jags, I never thought that I would say this. Man, I don't know if they have any of those three components when it comes to winning games. The effort, and I'm not saying this, but Andre Cisco said this. He felt like there was a lot of quit out there when he's looking at his teammates and looking at the team. He included himself in there, but a whole lot of quit. That is problematic. If you feel like your teammates are not playing hard and they're discouraged and they're not giving the kind of effort that professionals are exposed to give, but championship caliber squads are supposed to give, that's an issue because the behaviors precede the results. And if you're going to be a championship squad, you got to act like a championship squad before you become one. The way that you carry yourself, the way you go about your business, the way you do all those things, the way you play in between the lines, all of that stuff matters as you're trying to create a championship culture based on the habits and the actions that you exhibit. The team is not playing hard. This team is not displaying the toughness physically to beat people up at the point of attack, to beat people up and make it a very physical affair, or mentally to handle adversity, to have the discipline, to pay attention to the details, and to be on the details at all time, particularly when the game escalates and the pressure is felt. Can you do what is expected of you over and over and over again? Not seeing that. And then the execution. I mean, how many times have we seen these plays go awry just because one person misses a block or a receiver forgets a route? The quarterback can't necessarily get the ball to him. Whatever the issues are, the execution has not been at the level that it needs to be for this team to get over the hump. And when I look at all of those things and I consider all of those factors, the big question I have is why? Why aren't they playing hard? Why aren't they a tougher team mentally and physically to endure it? Why can't they master the execution of how they're supposed to play on offense, defense, and special teams to give them ourselves a chance to win each and every week? To me, that's the $1,000,000 question. That's the question that not only the head coach has to answer, but the coordinators, the position coaches, the players have to ask. They have to answer. Why isn't the execution there? Same system, back-to-back years. Not a lot of newness to what's going on, but it feels like this team is starting at the bottom, starting from square one every day. Like there's no build upon what you've done. Like we've worked hard for 24 hours. We got to this point. So tomorrow we're going to show up and we're going to take it to the next level. For the Jags, we built this, we got it going. But tomorrow we're going to start all the way back and build it all the way back to this point and maybe beyond. Crazy. It's crazy for me to kind of see this. So in football, we talk about, like I told you about, like West Point, where they talked about the must-haves and what you got to be able to do: effort, toughness, execution. But in football, Marty Schottenheimer, who is my coach in Kansas City, Tom Coughlin talked about this. Everyone talks about these traits in some way, shape, or fashion. But most coaches would tell you before you can win in this league, in the National Football League, before you can win, you have to master the art of not losing. Meaning you have to eliminate all of the bad habits, all the things that are associated with losing before you're able to win. We know if we've been around the game enough, turnover is the quickest way for you to lose games in this league. Like if you turn the ball over, you're going to lose. And if you turn it over by +1, +2, +3, the odds are only going to go up the more you put the ball on the ground and throw it to the other team. So ball security is critical to anything that you do in the league. Second thing we talk about in the league to be able to win, you got to control your pre-snap penalties. There can be penalties that are called all the time because you're being aggressive, you're going for it, you inadvertently hit a receiver just stepping out of bounds, you take one extra step and to get a hit on the quarterback, you get a personal foul penalty. Like those things are minor bang plays or whatever. What you can have though is you can't have situations where people don't know how to line up. They can't get aligned. And because they can't get aligned, because the other team is playing at tempo, and then you're having to burn timeout. So then you have to fake injury. Guys take a knee or whatever it is. And so it's all chaotic. And meanwhile, the other team is beginning to find their rhythm and flourish and thrive amidst the chaos. That's what took place on Sunday. The Chicago Bears quickened the pace, up the ante, put the ball in the hands of their quarterback. Quarterback got into a rhythm. They started moving the ball up and down the field. They cash it in twice. They create separation in the lead. And away we go. Here we go again. That's what it felt like on the sideline. Just felt like, oh, man, we can't get this going. We don't know what we're doing. How are we going to keep up? They're so high octane. They got it. I mean, they got every conceivable weapon that you want. 2 running backs, 3 wideouts, big body tight end, got a backup tight end that play for us, Mercedes Lewis. I mean, they have it. They have it going. They had it all. And Chicago's like certainly a tough team, but man, we thought we would have fared better. Here's where the issues to me came in terms of the offensive side of the ball. False start penalties, like pre-snap penalties, like we just have to eliminate the pre-snap penalties. We control that. We know what the snap count is. Like line up, go on time. No excuses. Like we got to be able to take care of that. The other thing I'm going to tell you, man, just the drop balls by the wide receivers. And it's unfortunate that the star wide receivers had the butterfingers today, but just the drop passes, especially down in the end zone. Tight area, you fit the ball into a window, it hits the guy right on the chin, and he's unable to bring it down. Man, that's the difference between being good and great. That's the difference between being a team that is downtrodden and a team that is respectable and on the way up. Right now, Jag, we aren't doing the simple things to give ourselves a chance to be able to win. But let's dig down even deeper into the offense side of the ball and what we're seeing. Here's what I say. Game got off to a quick start. Trevor Lawrence was hot, got it going. A couple layups, a couple intermediate routes, took a shot down the field. And I would say this, Trevor Lawrence's game as a rhythm passer, these 3 elements have to be a part of it. Screen game, quick game, deep shots over the top, because that's how he played at Clemson. He's very comfortable operating like that. We can do some other things and get to being able to maybe fully bake it out. But right now, man, put him in his sweet spot and play the hits. And that's what Trevor Lawrence needs to do. I would say the first part of the game, man, the Bears let him play the hits, man. Check down, push it down the field. Finally have an opportunity to fit one in the red zone. Boom, squeezes in there. His Gabe Davis right in the hands, right off the face mask. Boom. Settle for 3 points. And from that point on, man, the wheels came off the bus. I mean, just completely came off. And I can't really tell you why. I can tell you that, like, had 4 drops by prominent wide receivers that we're counting on. It's not necessarily in the jam, but you do that. You have some turnovers and stuff like that. Trevor airmailed one over the middle of the field because the window is getting tight. You're trying to feel in the pressure to generate a chunk play. Man, interception. So you don't like that. You come back out in the second half. You talk about you want to get established. You want to get started. Let's make it pop. Evan Ingram makes a great catch, kind of having an explosive play in the making. Boom, ball comes out. And from that point on, game over. And it's just disappointing that this team, who does have a lot of talent, this team who has a lot of great dudes, great character guys that are like, as we say in this game, is marry your daughter type. A lot of those dudes. But man, for whatever reason, right now, we can't put it together. We can't put it together. Can't get it together. And so it's just a huge issue. But when I look at the offense, like after that first drive, man, they never can make adjustment to the Bears' adjustment. It always felt like they were constantly like moving around, moving and shaking, trying to make it happen. And it just couldn't get it. So then when I asked Doug Peterson after the game, we talked on the radio, we talked about all this stuff. Then we put the headphones down. We had a little chat, a little chit chat. And one of the things he talked about, he said, man, it's really unfortunate. Like if anyone watched this practice, man, they would see a completely different team than the one that shows up on game day. When you go to practice, man, we're on it. We're on the details. Everyone is ready. You even heard this echo by Andre Cisco, who said, there's nothing wrong with our schedule. There's nothing wrong with the practice. I mean, guys are locked in and maintaining energy in the film room, but it's just something's off. And when something is off like this, like as a coach, what you do is you go back and you look at all your plans. You look at all your practice plans from whenever, and you try and figure out, like, what do we need to do to get this team to be at their best? Not what everyone else thinks me. For us to look at our team and say, this is what we need to do to be at our best. And so it's about making sure that the practice and the preparation becomes a game day reality. And you have to dress rehearse for some of that. You just have to make sure that everyone understands what we're doing. We bring the right kind of focus to these walkthroughs and we get something out of it. And offensively, he's been a huge disappointment. I'm going to say this offense has been disappointment for 2 years. We thought this offense was going to be high power. We thought it was going to be fun. Thought they were going to be able to tilt the field. Their favorite, they just haven't been able to crack the code. And so it's a really disappointing thing to see it go down, to see the offensive line. I think they played better. They're reasonable. They're fine. Like the edges kind of held up. They didn't let the quarterback get beat up too bad or anything like that. He took 3 sacks, but some of that is just, the nature of them winning the down. But it's just disappointing because you never could see he's controlled the game and you wanted to control it. You wanted to slow it down. You wanted to let Bigsby kind of do his thing, and they never could do it. Jags ran the ball 20 times, 68 yards, not enough. Trevor Lawrence, 24 for 36, 210 yards, two tubs, 1 interception, passer rating 98. And that's fine, but some of those yards were derived in garbage time. Evan Ingram goes over the 100-yard mark as a wide receiver, so you dig that. And then when it comes to the tackles and sacks and all those other things, Ventura Miller with 10, Devin Lloyd with 9, Buster Brown ended up having 7. So overall, I would say this: too many tackles in the back end, too many linebackers, too many safeties involved in the tackle. We need other guys to show up and rally at the party. Before we switch over to defense and talk about the defensive performance of Ryan Nielsen's troops, let's shout out one of my sponsors. How about we got Melon hats? We got Melon hats. You can see the logo. You see how real it is. But my favorite hat, man, I got the Hydro version. This is the version that you want when it's out because of the wicked way the sweat, the water, the damage. You don't have to worry about it being reshaped. All of those things are very, very positive, sleek looking design, and it's only going to get better and better as they continue to modify and make changes and additions. But really excited for that. Make sure you check out melon.com to find out everything about this hat. Gotta love it. So now let's talk about the defense. And defensively, I'm gonna tell you, man, I drank the Kool-Aid or I ate the cheese, whatever it is you want to say. I was all in on Nelson. I still think there's some really, really good things that he's done. I think he's in a hard spot. I think he's in a hard spot because some of the personnel that they have prevents him from really getting down the way that he wants to get down. When we think about the way the philosophy or the premise of the defensive approach, the coverage is about stopping the run. It's about making sure you don't give up anything deep. You don't give up any cheap ones. So you're challenging everybody, but you're playing top-down position. You're making them catch the ball, going back to the quarterback. Like that's the Cliff Notes version of basically what we're trying to create. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to do it with young players who are stepping into play, some older key veterans. And they started out like a house on fire. Started out great, man. The young guys competing. They're locked up nose to nose, know exactly what you're doing, understand motions and checks and shifts and all that other stuff. So all of that's been great. And then, like the weirdest happened. I mean, it just happened. Like after you have a few poor performances and poor outings, you begin to lose some of the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm wanes, then some of the effort goes down, and you're not getting the kind of preparation that you want. And so now you have to kind of bring everybody up, restate what the goal is, how you want to play, how you want to attack the day, how do you want to attack the opponent, and make sure that everyone is doing it. That's what Ryan Nielsen is trying to do with the team. And as they're trying to recreate or create a new defensive culture, that's what it's about. Here's where the issue comes. The issue comes when your personnel doesn't allow you to get after it the way that you want to get after it. So the Jaguars want to play man-to-man on the outside. They want to pressure you up front with your 4-man line, and you want to force you to continue to check it down or win, or just kind of slowly start squeezing things around the quarterback by putting pressure on them physically, schematically, mentally, all those things. Well, you got 2 guys in rushes and Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen that certainly can perform at a high level. They form one of the best duos that we'll find. They're good. But after that, There's no one after that can help them. They don't have a third rusher. Who is going to jump in when the Wonder Twins can't activate? When Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen can't activate, who is the person that can get the quarterback down? TBD. We don't know. It's to be determined. We don't know who that next person is. And so on game day, when they're looking for the guy and they're putting these different combinations in and running the hockey lines in, you don't have an established pecking order where everyone can look on the film and be like, oh, that's our guy. He's the DPR, the designated pass rusher. He is going to make it happen. He's going to give us a chance so we can sit back and play zone and rally and tackle. That's what the expectation was. Haven't been able to do that because, man, you're rotating so many guys in. You don't have an opportunity to really see Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker go to work, even though the reports have been positive. I've seen them on the field, just haven't been able to dig into it. Now, when you don't have the pass rush, it puts even more pressure on you to be able to cover. And the big sombrero this week went to, secondary member Ron Darby, because he was going to have a tough matchup. He was going to have to hold his own because we couldn't zone him out. We couldn't protect him. He was going to have to be able to handle some of the things. He struggled, man. My guy Ron, he just struggled. 2 critical defensive holding penalties that prevented the team from getting off the field. More importantly, prevented them from putting points on the board. And in a game that was still hanging in the balance a little bit, you need to have your players make those plays to get off the field. And Darby couldn't make the play. 2 defensive holding calls and extended drives. Eventually, Johnny McZell goes down and put the nail in the coffin. It's a wrap. The Jags have to improve in a few different areas if they're going to be a good team by the end of the season. Number one thing they got to do is the effort has to pick up. The effort has to be there consistently every day. The belief has to be there. The belief that they can be a really good unit, that can dominate when they play the right way. They just need to fix a couple of areas, and they're right back into it. So that is things that stand out. I would say that, look, up front, you got 2 guys that can do it, but you got to have the other guy come in. Whoever the third guy is, somebody else has to be on the field with them that can get after the quarterback to take pressure off of them having to win one-on-ones all the time. You get that done, defensively, you'll be able to bring the score down and begin to get people in the fourth quarter having to play these tight games where execution is coveted at a premium. Finally, I would say I talked about the Bears, and I've talked about the Bears, like, I feel like all week, but I interviewed some of the coaches and I was just asking them, like, man, how turnover session, how you get it, how you coach it, how you do all this stuff, other stuff. Well, I would say that, like, yes, the Jags are going to work on the turnover thing, and they talk about it. I hear Coach Nelson talk about it. But I'm going to say this, more important to the turnover thing is, man, you got to get off the field on 3rd down. 3rd down is money down. I've heard Ventrell Miller, like, lay into his teammates talking about money down. We got to get off the field. And there's an urgency that comes with that. When you say money down, everyone on that unit knows, hey, man, this is where we make our money. We got to get this done. It's now and never on this play. And so everyone tightens up a little bit, straps it up, and they come and get it. The problem that we're having is too many of these money downs are being converted. Sometimes those money downs are being converted on simple things where you miss a tackle here, the guy scoops and goes. Other times there's no one around, you blow a coverage, and someone that waltzes into the zone. Regardless of what is happening, red zone, 3rd down, or whatever, when it's red zone money down, everyone has to be on the same page. And right now, not operating on the same page, which is what Cisco was referring to when he talked about 11 playing as one and everyone understanding the gap. We should look like we are on a string and everyone is connected to everyone else, being able to just focus in on just being great, being a good team, good players, and all that. Right now, there's a disconnect. And I can't tell you how to fix it, but what I can tell you that it will continue to undermine the Jaguars' hopes of playing in the tournament if they can't resolve it. Until the Jags are able to commit on defense, they talk about 1 of 11. Everyone being a part of the 11, everyone being a critical piece to the puzzle, got to have that. So we'll see if they can get it going. I am hopeful and optimistic because 3 vets come back soon for you, Luakon, Tyson Campbell, and hopefully my guy Dewey is coming back. That little experience and expertise might be enough for the Jags to be able to kind of clean some of this up and give themselves a chance to not only kind of climb the ranks of respectability, but maybe kind of backdoor into the postseason if everything goes according to plan. So that's the podcast for today. Like, I can just tell you my thoughts, man. I can just tell you that I am so frustrated about the product that we're seeing. I think we do have good guys. And because of that, I'm going to shout out two young guys that, look, I told you Foyer's coming back, Tyson Campbell's coming back, and Dewey's coming back. But I know this, two guys that have earned their minutes and carved out nice roles for themselves. Ventrell Miller, who got some dog in him that I never knew about. Very vocal, very driven, has the urgency that you have to be a really good player. He's terrific. And then Buster Brown has become, man, a star. So on the other side, when they have to make a decision who starts opposite Tyson Campbell, if you ask me, my vote, Buster Brown doesn't come off the field. Find something for Darby to do in the slot nickel thing. But right now, kind of like the combo that is on the outside. So next time we get together, we'll talk more real talk. We'll talk about the team. We'll talk about that. But we also, later in the week, kind of lean into our opponent. We'll go behind enemy lines and talk to Chris Hogan about potentially what the Patriots are doing, what the Patriots are bringing to the UK this week. Until then, make sure you rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you check out all the cool stuff we're doing on the Bleav Network. Check us out on Fubo. Check us out on YouTube. All of the cool things happening within the network. So check that out. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about all the stuff that we're doing so we can continue to expand this thing, grow it out, because the village is critical as we try to build something that's really, really special and unique for our people. Until next time, I'm Bucky Brooks. This is Bleav in Jags. I'm out.